Hi guys, it is your friendly neighborhood headbanger Terry here, and I am going to be speaking kind of softly tonight. This is not an ASMR video, but it is 3:20 in the morning rather, and I was watching something and it made me feel like I really needed to make this video. So I feel pretty strongly about it. If I got up and put on makeup and came out here to record at 3:21 in the morning. I have been doing a really stupid thing. No, not that stupid thing. I am still currently in about a 2-week long sobriety period from my bulimia. So that's still going fairly good. I broke a 3-year streak this January. I think part of it was COVID. It was just all I could. I had just sat around and gained weight, and I was just freaking out. No, the reason I'm making this video is because the stupid thing I had been doing is watching a channel of a girl who is an emaciated anorexic, but that is in complete denial that she's anorexic. She did admit to, I think it was about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that she went into treatment to work on some health problems, was what she said. I don't know that she's ever used the word anorexia, but she came back from she was 5150'd, which meant she was involuntarily committed, and she was in treatment for a while. Then she came back and she started making videos again. She looked a little better. Now she looks worse than before she was 5150'd. People have called the police to come talk to her. The problem is that she is almost 30 years old, although you never know it to look at her or hear her talk. She simply is extremely childish, extremely immature, extremely stunted at about a, I don't know, I'm guessing here, probably a 14, 15-year-old place. I don't know if a trauma happened then. She doesn't talk about anything really personal in her life, with the exception of, talking about her family in very general terms. But when I first began watching her channel, at first it was just like, oh my gosh, that poor thing. I feel so bad for her, and why won't she get some help? And I know how difficult it is for people with eating disorders to admit that they need help, because that will mean that they will have to stop the behavior that they think has been working for them thus far. It has kept them from looking as if they're growing up. Maybe it has staved off puberty. Maybe as it was in my case, it just is allowing them to be thinner after a long time of being teased and made fun of because they weren't thin. So I've been watching this channel, and I found something scary happening. The first thing is that I need to tell you some things. I need to be very, very blunt with you and straight with you about some things. I am not a thin person. I don't look like a person who ever had an eating disorder. I did once upon a time. I don't now. I am morbidly obese, according to IBMI. Now, I know BMI there's a lot of hoo-ha about whether BMI is something that you should even pay attention to. That extremely loud noise was my Cherry Coke Zero being open, because y'all know I can't talk without consuming some sort of caffeine, especially if it's something that's difficult like this. I now weigh 100 pounds more than I did when I got married, and 130 pounds more than I did when I had my eating disorder. That is hard to say. I kind of feel like I'm being punched in the stomach as I say it. I cannot tell you exactly what happened. I can tell you that the bulk of it was gained probably in the last 10 years or so. Mostly since I quit work, because I kind of didn't really know what my purpose was after quitting work. I quit work in 2007, I think. So that's been 14 years, almost this month, I think. a lot of, so a lot of it stemmed from that. Some of it stemmed from taking care of my mom when she was sick. My sister and I took care of her for about 5 years. Some of it stemmed from massive depression, very, very deep depression that I was dealing with, 2 episodes during that time. Some of it stems from a very deep hurt that I experienced from someone who loved me, well, loves me, but it was a very deep hurt and a betrayal, and part of it I felt like had to do with my weight. I don't know that that's entirely true, but it was a deep hurt, a deep betrayal. The action has been forgiven, but not forgotten, and there are still times when I feel like it is somehow having some sort of effect on my eating habits, because bulimics who don't throw up are just left with binging. And we binge because that's self-medication. That is our alcohol. That is our crack. That is our heroin. That is supposedly less bad than those things. It's not, as bad as taking a hard drug. And yet, over time, it does, begin to be bad. I am amazed that only just now am I starting to have any inkling of high blood pressure or cholesterol issues. I mean, my sugar is fine, which is astounding because let's face it, you don't binge on things that are good for you. My big thing, some people binge different ways. Some prefer like fried foods and junk food. I prefer sugar. I want something that's candy and sugary. I don't even like chocolate as much as I like, say, something like a donut or an apple fritter or Skittles or something that's literally sugary. And so this binging has, kind of been a way of self-medicating, even as I'm trying to work through my mental health, you know, and be a more, what am I trying to say, more self-actualized, have more self-insight. Even as I'm doing that and being successful at it, I'm still wanting to self-medicate, because self-actualization and self-insight can kind of be painful if you're really truthful about it. So I found, this is the scary thing I found, while I'm watching her videos and saying, oh, you poor thing, and oh my gosh, can't you see what you're doing to yourself? I'm also finding myself jealous of her willpower. Yeah, that's bad. Bad, Terry. I am jealous of the amount of willpower she has to clearly not eat for days on end. She streams on Twitch. Sometimes she'll stream on Twitch for 8 hours, and she will not eat or drink or use the restroom during that entire time. And that's just weird and, not right. But all of those things, of course, I think are kind of weird. And I do feel bad for her, and I do want her to get better, and I don't want her to die, which she is absolutely on the path of doing. If she keeps on at the rate she's at right now, I don't know if she'll be here at the end of the year. She might, but she might not. I'd say it's about a 50-50 chance. Her skin is starting to turn gray, her eyes are starting to turn yellow, her joints are starting to turn very red, showing that, she's got blood pooling there and not circulating round and round like it should be. Probably because her heart's getting weak and tired. But yeah, I found myself actually saying to myself, if I could have her willpower in my diet, if I didn't eat 3 handfuls of Smartie packets a day, and if I didn't if I had her willpower, okay, Terry, if you had her willpower, you'd have an eating disorder. And since you've already have an eating disorder, I think one should be your limit. I think you should only have one. One should be it. And I think really what I'm ashamed to say is that without the throwing up, without the use of laxatives, without the use of extreme exercise, I just have binge eating disorder. I don't want to have binge eating disorder, because that means I just eat and I get fat. And that's not what I want to say I have. I have spent the last 40 years of my life dealing with fat and the idea of fat. And I spent the last 35 of my life trying to use some sort of shortcut, quick way to not being fat. And now here I am just getting fat. I'm not really doing anything to stop it. I'm not being bulimic, which is good. My diets are half-assed at best because there are so many things in my life that I want to put a Band-Aid on. I worry about my daughter that has special needs. I worry about family members. I worry about my friends. I worry about this country because we are just, oh, geez, this country. Wow. And if you're a Trump fan, turn away now because he is just batshit crazy. This country is just going nuts. That may get me a dislike. It's okay. I'm a big girl. I can take it. But there's so many things now in my life that I'm trying to fix. The betrayal that I told you about, the one that hurt me so badly, sometimes that rears its ugly head. And I think if I had a better grip on things, if I weren't dealing with fibromyalgia and arthritis, and if I hadn't gained all this weight, then maybe that thing would be better. Because here's a crazy thing that eating disordered people think. They think that their weight is directly proportional to the good or bad things that happen in their life. The less you weigh, the better things go. And the sad thing is, society actually rewards that way of thinking because we do tend to look at the pretty people and smile at them, and it's nice to have them representing your company, and it's nice to watch them on TV, and it's nice to, I'm very thankful for Lizzo and Rebel Wilson, although she has lost a lot of weight, and good for her. I don't want her not to lose weight. But Rebel Wilson, Lizzo, other larger, Melissa McCarthy, who has also lost weight, other larger female entertainers who have come out in the world and been embraced by the public just because they're funny and they're talented and they should be embraced. They're not in the public for a beauty pageant. They're in the public for this talent that they have, and they should be recognized for that. So that's been cool, and I've enjoyed seeing that. But the fact of the matter is that we tend to put our best and prettiest out front, and that is true. And so that idea is, as much as woke society would like to say that that's not true, it is true, and it's still being done. You don't see ugly people on the cover of magazines. You don't see ugly people or fat people wearing couture. You don't see, you just don't. And that is a fact of life. Now, there are plus-size models, but I think sometimes they're kind of laughed at by other people in the model industry. Like, oh my gosh, do I want to be a plus-size model? No, that's not the point here. The point is that as I have gained weight, I find it torturing my mind, and my way of dealing with that is to eat more, because that makes sense, doesn't it? That makes no sense. It makes no more sense than as an alcoholic saying that I'm going through a rough time, so clearly as an alcoholic I should have a rum and coke. No, that's not the way that works. Well, that's not the way it works with eating either, but eating and eating problems are a hardcore addiction because they're not something you can go without. I have not had an alcoholic drink in, it will be 16 years in August. Excuse me. So, yeah, that's a lot harder than dealing with something you have to put in your mouth every day, like food. Excuse me. I opened that thing and never did take a drink of it. Okay, so yeah, I have found myself while watching this girl. I'm not going to give you her name because I don't want people that don't need to be looking at her channel looking at it. There is a thing right now trying to get her off of YouTube because of the way that she body checks herself in the camera all the time. Body checking is when you look away from the camera lens and you look at the image. I do it from time to time just to make sure I'm still in the frame, or there isn't something else in the frame with me. But it would be like this. If I just did this and looked at myself the entire time and didn't look at you, so I could make sure my hair was okay and my makeup was okay, that's body checking. And people who have an eating disorder do it all the time because they need to see what they look like. Because if there's an imperfection, they need to fix it. So I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person that body checks all the time. I don't want to be that person that medicates with food to the point where it seriously affects my health. I don't want to be that person that has a weird admiration for people like this woman. And I don't want to have an admiration for her. I really don't. But, the eating disorder, the eating disordered thinking in a person dies a very slow, hard death. It does not want to let go. And so I'm looking at this person and I'm thinking, why can't I go all day without eating? Why can't I live on 500 calories a day? Why can't I? Okay, I shouldn't want to do that. That's insane. And I probably won't, because my willpower at this point is not there. It's just not. I'll be straight up with you. If anyone goes away from this thinking Terry's going to turn anorexic, not going to happen. No. I don't even have the willpower right now to hold up a 16-hour fast. There's a thing where you eat for 8 hours and you fast for 16. I don't even have that going right now. But it is something that's going to come up in therapy, and it is something that's going to be talked about along with the eating, in that I'm actually just going to go get a therapist. I don't have one right now. Haven't had one for a while. Kind of feeling like I might need one. Counselors make their own worst therapist. I do have a master's in counseling, but don't counsel yourself because you're too good at fooling yourself. I mean, I even know I'll fool myself. I'm extraordinarily self-actualized, but that doesn't mean that I'm any better at taking my counselor advice than anyone else would be taking their own advice. So people are bad at taking their own advice. They really are. Physician, heal thyself. And yep, I, like many others, cannot do that. Cannot heal myself. And I'm not supposed to. That's why there are other counselors for counselors. And there are doctors for doctors. You're not supposed to treat yourself. You're not supposed to treat your family. So there you go. Not to mention the fact that I haven't gotten my license yet. So I don't have a license to treat myself. Well, it is now 3:38 in the morning, and I've been yammering on now for the better part of 20 minutes. I don't know what made me go make this video, except for I just felt like I had to get this out. I had to take the trash out mentally, and you got to hear it. Lucky you. I probably will not do the video about mental health in the church next, because this is basically a mental health video. I will probably go ahead and do the true crime one next, which, believe it or not, is another true crime that is not that far away from me. I could be, from where I am right now, I could probably be at the place this happened in hour 10 minutes, hour 15 tops. So I've been to the place before. I know where the place is, and much like the last place we talked about, it is beautiful. You wouldn't think anything like that could happen there. It's just absolutely a gorgeous place. And if that weren't crazy enough, it's going to have a social network connection. There you go. All right, guys, I hope you're doing well. I really hope you're not up, unless you live in New Zealand or something. And I will say hi to my New Zealand friend. Hi. I do have a friend in New Zealand, and it is in her happy world, I think about 7:40, 7:40 p.m. So I hope you're doing well, and I love you, my friend. Hopefully I'll talk to you later today. And I hope the rest of you guys are doing well too. And I don't want you to worry about me. I'm doing fine. I just want you to realize that when you have an eating disordered mindset, things that you even think because you know better that you should just be horrified by can be things that deep down in you, you think, oh man, I wish I had that kind of, that kind of willpower, that kind of commitment, that kind of determination. Yeah, the kind that'll kill you, Terry. You had that kind of determination once and you had a cardiac event. So, yeah. But you guys take care. I love you, and I will see you in the next video. And if you're awake and you live in the United States, get some sleep. Bye.